Hello everybody, you're here with Cle De Peau Beauty with your host Claudia Lara. Thank you so much for tuning in. So today is an episode of concealers, the best concealers, or at least the concealers that I own and use, or have owned and have used. So a little something. Now, I have been out a couple of days, so excuse me for that, but sometimes I just need a rest. So what can I tell you? But here I am, renewed and happy to be here. I do miss you when I don't come and film, and we'll see, because it seems like I forget how to do it. So hopefully I can come back to it right away. Okay, so concealers. Now, if you've been with me, you've been with the channel, you know I'm not very big using concealers. Why? Well, I don't have very much purple. I do have some, but not like very too much, or that it will bother me. Like right now I'm wearing absolutely nothing, just a skincare, right? And so usually I do cover it with the foundation I'm using for the day. Even if it's spot concealing or spot foundation, meaning I'm not really full on, I still use the foundation that I'm using to cover this, the redness, and some here and some here. That's usually what I do, right? But when you're trying to do a little more complete look, even if it's not formal, then this area obviously starts showing a lot more. So I should have mentioned, well, I think you see it in the flyer, more or less the products that I'll be using. I'll mention them, and I'll give you my thoughts on it. So first, and please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. And if you're interested in concealers, please keep on watching. See, this is what I say. I need to, remember how to do all these things. Anyhow. So having said that I'm not a very big concealer, I'm always on the search for a good one. Now, what do I consider a good one? So first of all, obviously, that it covers, right? Second, that it's moisture, that it doesn't look like something hard and then it emphasize my wrinkles. I guess that's an obvious thing, but I always call it the effect of Cruella. You become harder. And you become like you're wearing makeup. Now, that happens sometimes with foundations, but with concealers, and especially if you add powder, then you start getting to become an expert or know what you're doing. If not, it really easily becomes a little messy. Another thing is that it moistures, that it looks natural. I don't like the concealers that just cover, like if you want a white canvas. I know a lot of people are, do gorgeous makeup and they start from scratch and they really cover more of a full cover from the foundation, from everything. It looks gorgeous as makeup does. You can ignore that the person is wearing makeup. Me, I'm more natural, more casual looking, so I don't mind that it's not totally covered. I actually prefer it, and this and that. However, I do want my skin to look better, even if it doesn't cover totally, okay? All right. So there's a few tricks that I do or use instead of concealer, and I will share with you, and then I will share the concealers. All right. So so you know what I will be showing you. So I have obviously the Pat McGrath Labs with this powder. I do have Chanel. I do have Giorgio Armani. I do have some of Charlotte Tilbury, some of IT Cosmetics, some of Becca, and some Jar Wise, and I'll tell you why. And obviously I have experience with Dior, with the tape tart that was super big, and a few others. So just let's start. All right, so the few tricks, I'll start with that just so you know. I usually, and if you've been with me in my channel, you know I use this all the time, and that is the Charlotte Tilbury corrector. So this baby is a little peachy, and so that peachiness helps cover the purple. And usually I use this and that's it. So I use this as a corrector, and then the foundation, and the foundation on top kind of makes my skin look great, and this cover a little bit of that purple. And so this is all I will use under the foundation. Now, obvious, this is a corrector, not a concealer, so you won't get that beautiful look. So when I'm wearing a little more medium sort of coverage in my foundation or something like that, then the purple is a lot more noticeable. So then I will use a concealer instead. But let me keep talking about the little tricks before I get to the concealer. So this is one of my favorite. Another one is the Becca Under Eye Brightening Corrector, this one. Now, let me see if I can swatch this thing so you know what I'm talking about. So this thing also has a little peachy, a little more pinky, but a little peachy. And so this one you need to warm it up a little bit. And then tap. Let me just put that. Now, this one, of course you do it until it melts and becomes your skin, but I want you to see the swatch. Now, this one has illuminating. And so not only does it help cover your purple, but it kind of illuminates the whole area. Nowadays, I've seen, for example, Gucci Westman from Westman Atelier. I don't think that's her last name, but Westman Atelier, I see her putting the lid up, which is a highlighter, kind of a clear highlighter, and she applies it right here, and then the foundation. So that sort of illuminates. Now, the other thing, let me just swatch the Charlotte Tilbury next to it, just so we can compare it. All right, so this one is the Charlotte Tilbury. This one is the Becca. Let me put a little bit of the Charlotte Tilbury, see if I can compile it so you see the difference. You see, Charlotte Tilbury, Becca. So this one a little more pinky, illuminating. You see the highlighting? All right. So you kind of see that your eye is illuminated. And then another one that is in the illuminating arena is the YSL, Yves Saint Laurent, and this is Touch Eclet, Radiant Look. This one used to be huge. Then all of a sudden I stopped hearing about it, but so this one also has a little bit of illuminating. Oof, I put a little too much. It is a little illuminating, but this one we're talking now, the actual, I guess I'll apply a little bit so we see how this looks. It'll put a little too much, and we'll compare. I'm just gonna put this on one side. So this one has illuminating properties, and also it is a concealer. As you saw, it's not in the peachy sort of color like a corrector would. This is actually will cover under your eye and illuminate at the same time. So what I was saying is that this one used to be a huge one. I don't hear about it that much anymore, but this one was one of my favorites forever. Why? Because look at that. Because it conceals, it covers, illuminates, and it doesn't affect my skin. It always looks moisture. You can't even tell that I'm wearing it, right? Now, I could show you how the correctors work, but the Charlotte Tilbury you can see because I use it in almost every video. But I'm not gonna, let's continue because I wanna apply another one more that covers a lot more on this side. So this one you see one of a light sort of concealing. I will use this every day. Even if I have a medium coverage, more formal look, this is amazing. So I do recommend this one for sure. Everything that I'll be talking about is things that I do use. Now, the most used, so you saw this, right? Now, let me continue to what I got, and we'll continue swatching. So the next one that is one of my favorites is the Cle De Peau. So Cle De Peau concealer, and I do have a chore video, I'll link it down below, with swatches of 3 colors, the ivory, the almond, and the beige. This one is the ivory. This is the lightest that they have. Now, why do I like this? First, I love the applicator. So easy, so simple. I don't have the problem that I just did with YSL, right? That I applied too much, blah, blah, blah. It wasn't that hard, but I prefer this method. So this is ivory. You see, it's a little darker, right? It's not as yellow. It's a little more neutral. And so this one, it doesn't have illuminating. This is a much more, I wouldn't say matte, but much more smooth and easy. This one, the same as the Charlotte Tilbury. These two are the most basic that I have, even more than the one I just applied. So these two become your skin, do cover a little bit. You never feel you have it on. It doesn't matter if you put little makeup or just this and that's it, or a lot of makeup, it does something, right? So these two will be my most comfortable, most basic. You don't need anything else. You don't need to powder. You don't need to do anything, right? Then the Illuminating Becca, sometimes under everything, I use it. Then the next one will be the YSL Illuminating Cover, also in the natural. You don't feel it's there, won't give you Cruella, right? And then we're gonna start now with the more formal. The ones that I actually wear if I am having a complete makeup. So the most likely that I've been wearing forever is the Giorgio Armani. This is the fabric. This is number 3, and this is what I think fabric something. I'll list it down below for you, but let me just swatch it. So this is it. So again, you see the Cle De Peau and the Giorgio Armani very close in color. This one also very light. This one, it has a tiny little bit of illumination. I mean, if you see, it's kind of like this one and this one sort of illuminate the same way. This is the YSL, a little more yellow. This is a lot more neutral. This one, no illumination. And then of course the correctors, which are more in the peachy, right? Okay. Now, what do I like about this one is the lightness. It doesn't give me Cruella. You barely feel it there. A lot more than the other ones that I just spoke about, because we're going into mediums, all right? Now, it's still, you can still see some of the purple come through, but it doesn't look like you didn't do anything. So if you are doing a medium, more formal, final look, you do look like you finish off, meaning you do look like you put something underneath and you are more complete. Because sometimes if you're doing a more formal look or medium coverage and you put no concealer, it shows, you look tired for some reason. If you're doing a everyday non-makeup look or a casual look, it doesn't matter. But once you start ramping it up a little, even with eyeshadows and eyeliner and full mascara, then if you're not wearing a concealer, it does make a difference. So if I just want something very light, I wear this. I wouldn't wear the other ones that I told you because those are too casual and it looks very much like my skin, and so it doesn't give me that complete look. So I do go to these ones that I'm talking about now, and the most used will be this Giorgio Armani. I hope I'm making sense. Then the next one, if I'm wearing a lot of more pastel-y, cool tones, or I want to look a little softer, like if it was a wedding look or something more during the day, purple lilacs, something like that, I pull this Chanel. Now, this is not the regular. This is Le Corrector. So this is another corrector. Now, this is pinkish. I use it as a concealer. I really don't know what the difference is between this one and their concealer. I have tried their concealer, of course. I'm on color 10. It's more yellow because it's more my skin color. This is the one I'm talking about here, the pinkish, right? The corrector. You see, pinkish, peachy, pinkish. These three are correctors. So the reason I don't own their concealer at this moment is because This one, like I said, if I'm wearing cool tones more during the day, more dull-like, more romantic look or something like that, the pinkish underneath really brightens up my eye. It looks nicer and it is lighter. Lighter in coverage, lighter in feel, lighter in look because it's a corrector. And so I much prefer it, and it does cover. And then of course you put your foundation before or after, it doesn't matter. And that gives it a very nice look. However, it still this one does feel like makeup. You're wearing makeup, right? It's not like the first that I gave you, like the Cle De Peau, the YSL, and the Charlotte Tilbury, where you really forget you're wearing makeup. And you can still, I'm kind of uneven, right? So if I just want little something, I guess I'm always between the Giorgio Armani and the corrector in Chanel. Why? This is lighter but more neutral, and this one will open up my eye, illuminate a little more. Maybe not totally cover the purple, believe it or not, even though the pinkish, but it does give me a final look. So I'm always mostly between these two when I kind of do most of my makeup. All the others, most days. And then I have, of course, well, should I give the most formal, all right, so before I get to the one, I want to talk about the IT Cosmetics Bye Bye Under Eye Full Coverage. Now this baby goes a long, 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 long way. Let me, now this one is very interesting because, okay, I want you to see the little dot that I use. This one most likely will go enough for both eyes. So once I start doing like this, imagine, this is thick. I don't know if you can see the thickness. I mean, this is covering, look at this. You can see my skin. You can see my skin even though I applied quite a bit. This one's, you can see my skin a little more transparent. This is a little more coverage, the Chanel. But this one, oh no, you're putting on top and you can't see anything else. I mean, I don't know if I should apply this on top of the YSL. Let me apply a little bit so you know. I mean, it becomes white canvas. I just want to put the last one on the other eye, so I'm not, but I mean, I still have most of it here. I just touch it, look. Now, what do I do with all that product? So I'm telling you, this one will go a very, very, very long way. And so this one will cover everything. If you have very dark eyes, or, I mean, I don't know what you will want to cover with this, but this one just goes the full mile. So if you really want to do a more formal look, a more complete look, a more full coverage look, I mean, look, you will put this and you don't have to worry about it the rest of the day. It stays on. So perhaps I don't suffer from blemishes or maybe red veins or things like that. But if you wanted to cover something that is very predominant and you really want coverage, I would go with something like this. I mean, look at that. I mean, now I'm tempted. I'm just covering my red. So this concealer, that's why I wanted to bring it up, because this one is just that extra mile, that way out there for specific needs or uses. Or so if I really want to do a very finish or very full look, even like what do you call it when it's dark in here and smoky look, I mean, this will clean up and really give you a nice canvas. I mean, now you can really see the difference, right? You don't need to powder after. You can still make it very natural. Remember, I haven't applied any foundation. So that, and then your foundation, this is really, So I really recommend the IT Cosmetics. Now, I rarely pull it out. And I think if I was going to a formal event, I will probably pull out the one I'm going to talk next. Or I would have pulled out the Giorgio Armani or the Chanel. Why? Because I like to look a little more casual. I don't have those events that you have to look very finalized, nor do I like that look. But if you do like that look, I mean, this will give you a flawless look. All right. I mean, look. So that's why I needed to mention it. Now, we'll be talking about next the one I will use today for a very formal event, and we'll compare. We'll see, right? I mean, that's the greatest thing for these videos. Before that, I do want to mention real quick, usually also on top of the concealers I already talked, you know, the corrector from Charlotte Tilbury, the Cle De Peau, the Becca, obviously the Chanel for a lot more coverage. I probably will use like the Westman Atelier sticks. You know what I'm talking about, right? I have here on the computer. You know, this sticks, this is kind of a foundation. I use this as my concealer. So I have one color, one shade, which is Atelier 1 as a foundation. And then I use the Atelier N or 0.5 under my eyes. And some dot sort of concealing, just so it won't be just one area and then the other area. And so I find that this is much better. I've been pulling this out a lot more than my Cle De Peau, for example. Even though Cle De Peau, this is like my third, you know, lipstick or product. It's not a lipstick, it's a concealer, but you know, this kind of thing. So I do use it, but now I've been using this a lot more. Just FYI. And obviously I put it on top of my corrector. So I use sort of both sort of things. All right, so let's get to the last one. I also want to mention there's a very big time favorite, which is the Dior from Sephora, the Backstage Dior, and it is sort of foundation concealer. It comes in a thicker tube. It seems that a lot of people love that one. I love Dior products, so I'm not surprised. I did have it. I gave it to my sister because it dries. It looks dry under my eye. So it's not my favorite. It was not one of my favorites, but it did cover very nicely, but I did not like, it dried me. With my sister, it looked amazing, but she has a different skin type and she's a lot younger than me. I mean, she's in her 20s, so that makes a big difference. There's also the tape from Tarte, the tape shape concealer, also a huge one. I have owned two, and I have owned the thick one, which is also spot conceal and foundation all in one. Those worked for me, sort of this coverage, but never totally worked because they would dry me. So I did use it, didn't love it. My sister has both, and she still loves the tape concealer, but when I gave her the Dior, much difference, and you could tell the difference. So if it's between those two, I prefer the Dior coverage conceal for sure, but for me it didn't work. So I will use this one for that kind of finish, like you see this, right? All right, so now final, and this is new to my collection, but I can see totally what it does. There's a lot of fuss about it, which is the Pat McGrath Labs concealer. If you haven't tried this, I will really recommend you to do. Now, this is long lasting, but you do feel you have makeup on. I'm not sure what the ingredients are on this, so I'm not sure if it's super good for you, super bad for you, blah, blah, blah. I don't know. But the finish, so if I would go to somewhere where I really want to look nice, I will pull this one out. Would I use it every day? No. So whatever your needs are. But let's try it on the other eye and compare it to the IT Cosmetic, which I think it does such a beautiful work, right? So I'm just gonna apply a little bit here. And this one, I did get the brush that comes with it. It's this brush. Look how cute. It's kind of like a finger, but it's much nice to apply it with a brush, right? However, at the end, I find that I have to go with my finger anyways, because I just find that all makeup products end up being utilized and look much better when you apply or add your finger, the warmth of your finger, and also how you press it into your skin. So let's do that. Look at that. Oh. And so this one looks just flawless, 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 flawless. If you want to see what's the best concealer, I think this is it. Now, again, I don't think I would use this every day. I think my skin sometimes it reacts to it a little bit. So if I wear this, perhaps the next day or the following day, I feel something under my eyes. So I haven't discovered what it is. So again, I wouldn't use this for every day, but I want you to see, right? Gorgeous. I mean, look at that. So this is the IT Cosmetics. I think it does pretty similar, right? I mean, it just covers and it's lovely. Now, let's apply, of course, a little bit. This is the powder that usually comes with the Pat McGrath concealer. So I wouldn't leave this without a powder. I did find that this will crease a tiny bit. I mean, you can see it already. Look at the comparison. This one, these are my real wrinkles, so that's not a fair comparison. I'm just saying, look at creasing, right? Barely. But this will crease more makeup Corella. Not yet to Corella, it doesn't get there, that's why I like it, but a little bit than this one. So, but it does make a huge difference to powder just a tiny bit. I mean, I'm barely touching it. Yeah. And I'm not the ones that powder. I barely use powder, right? But look at the difference. All right, so now you got it. That is it. This is the Pat McGrath. This is the IT Cosmetics. Now let's powder the IT Cosmetics just to be fair. Now, some people say you're supposed to powder as they are setting, right? So right now, this one kind of dry before I set it with the powder. But, oh my God. Yes, that is concealer for you. So, I'm looking at here in real life in my mirror, and I don't see a big difference at all, but I still think I like the Pat McGrath the best of everything, but I see very minimum difference. Now, do I see a big difference? You saw the YSL, when I apply YSL to this on top, whoo, like huge difference, right? And I don't think that made a lot of difference that I put it on top, because I'm telling you, this one really covers whatever you have in there. But if I hadn't put the YSL on the bottom, this will look very good, if not better. And you know, they're little difference. Now, if I had wear the Cle De Peau or any of the others, it would look much, much less concealed. You know what I mean. So I hope this was helpful. This was a request from one of you, and here I am. So I guess these are my top 5, right? Top 5 concealers for different occasions. Thank you very much for watching. Please subscribe to my channel if you haven't done so. Please ring the bell so you know when I upload videos. Please comment down below which are your favorite concealers. I want to hear. I want to learn from you, as always. And thank you very much for watching, and I will see you next time. Bye-bye.